Hi again, everybody. Jack here.
And Nicole, hi.
We're going to be, it looks like we're in a classroom. Would you agree? We have a map.
Oh, because of our map, yes. Well, it's a map of America, so I'm kind of learning where my states are and the capital cities of America.
And you're putting a little
of the
pins
states,
in.
capital cities. Yeah. And also, we're putting in the pins of where I've gone. If you can see the blue ones, that's where Jack has been, like, all over the country. Mine is just like 13 of them, so...
Yeah, but you're getting there.
Yeah,
You're getting there.
The goal is to cover all 50 at least.
The
lower
48.
The lower 48, yes.
Which I've been fortunate. I've been to all the lower 48.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think you're actually past 13.
I think I'm at 13.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 13. Well, we've been talking about we need to run to Kentucky and make it 14 because that's close by.
Well, Kentucky and Louisiana.
Louisiana because you want to go to New Orleans.
Yeah, I want to go to New Orleans.
Okay, we can do that. But you have tuned in because you want to hear us talk a little bit about education because you and I were talking the other day about the differences in the education system of Kenya versus the United States of America.
Yes.
And I told Nicole, I said, we should share this with Americans because you guys and girls who live here in America like me and who've not been in school in a foreign country have no idea what you're missing.
You're talking about it like it's something so big.
Okay, so which topic do you want to start with?
Well, one is the zoning, right? Just remember that it's not on our list, but the zoning where in the States you go to school in a the place where you live. Yeah,
there are school zones, and you're assigned to certain schools unless you want to pay extra to go out of the district or go to a private school.
And I'm very curious about that as well because that's totally different from Kenya. In Kenya, you just take your child to school, whatever it is you want to take them.
Well, no, it's funny when you say that. You can take them to any school you want to. There are some states now in America that are going to be instituting what they call school choice, where you have a voucher, and you can go to a school outside of your district without paying personally extra fees, but vouchers the government gives you. But now in Kenya, you're saying, let's say we're in South Nairobi.
Yeah.
But there's a public school in North Nairobi we'd rather go to.
You go there.
You just go there.
You just go
there.
No
questions asked.
No questions asked.
Now, there's not going to be a school bus though, right?
So if you go to a private school, there's probably going to be a school bus.
No, but a public school, no.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. So you got to get there yourself.
You got to get that yourself.
Okay. Well, so zoning, that's a little different. Basically, you have school choice in Kenya. But now that brings about the question. Would you send our children to public school in Kenya?
That's a good question. See, this is what used to happen before we got before 2002, I think. The public education wasn't the best, but it was good, right? Okay. And then we got a new president, and when this new president came in, he instituted free public education.
So you hadn't had free
public education? So we hadn't
education?
had free public education before this president who came in 2002.
So everybody was paying to go to school?
Everybody was paying to go to school. But public schools were subsidized by the government. So the school fees that you paid to go to a public school was considerably less than the school fees you paid to go to a private school.
But still could be a hardship because people don't have as much money there.
Yes. So that's why there was a higher rate of illiteracy before 2002.
Okay.
Because people could not afford even the subsidized rate to go to public school.
Oh. Okay.
So then 2002 comes and new president comes in, says free primary school education, free primary school. That's like grade school here.
Okay, sounds good to me.
So yeah. So that means everybody who never who never had the opportunity to go to school was able to go to school. And I'm telling you, but everyone, like including the old guys. In fact, there's a movie. It's called The First Grader. It's about the guy, like I think he was 87 years old or something, when the president instituted the free public school education, primary education. He said, I'm going to school. So everyone from young to old went back to school.
Okay.
Now, the thing that happened there was now the schools became saturated because one class that could hold 30 students now was holding 60, 100.
No.
Yes.
Not 100.
I'm telling you, there were classes that were holding. Yeah, like the desks were not enough, right? Okay. The public schools became super saturated.
Wow.
And so there was such a big burden on the teachers because they were handling just 30 kids.
Sure.
And then now they are handling 60, 100 kids. So then it became very crazy. The government, I think, has tried to improve on that since 2002. I mean, right now it's almost 20 years later. But basically, when that happened, the quality of education went down because now it's free. That's good. Everyone can get at least some sort of education. But now, what quality of education are you getting?
I got you.
So most people who could afford it now took their kids from public schools to private schools.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that brings us to the next question.
Yes.
Private schools and you have boarding schools.
Yes.
We've looked at prices there, compared them to here. They're ultra expensive in Kenya, though.
Private schools are expensive.
I mean, relatively to the U.S., some of them are higher than the U.S. private schools.
That is true. That is true. Because so I don't know if the U.S. ever did this, but in Kenya, before this new regime, I don't know why I call it regime, this new government, before this new government, we used to have, what is it called? I'm looking for this word. I'm looking. Oh, we used...
Should we hit pause? I don't know.
Before, what was I talking about? Remind me.
You were talking about the private schools and how much it costs to go.
Yes. So, see, there are levels of public school, of private schools.
Right, which we've talked about that. You have low-end ones, mid-range, and you have high-end
yes,
schools.
And then in Kenya, there's private schools, and then there's international schools. That's kind of like a fancy level of private.
That's
schools.
a whole nother
That's a whole
level.
nother world.
Okay, all right.
And it's way above our stratosphere. We can't even get there. But now when you talk about private schools, this is what I forgot. This is what I was wanting to say. It's in Kenya, before this new government came in, we used to grade schools. Like, we have the end of...
You have the standardized test.
Yes.
We have that here in the States, too.
There's a standardized test that we did on when we get to 8th grade.
Right.
It's called the Kenya Certificate. It used to be called the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. Now it has a different name. And what used to happen is that a school that performed well, the students that performed well, would kind of like be glamorized on all local television stations.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So all the top students, everyone knew them. And then the top schools, everyone knew them. So those schools became private schools, and then every parent wanted to take their child to that private school. And then now that's what made those schools become very expensive, those private schools.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because now in the news you could go and search which are the top schools in
Nairobi or Kisumu or whatever.
Yes,
yeah.
And then it gives you what their exam results were and stuff like that.
So you start pricing out a lot of people who may have had children in these better private schools.
Yes.
So then they're forced to go to lower standard private schools or the public schools. Okay, and of course we got problems here in the U.S. as well.
Yes.
But now I want to move forward on something though. When you mention international schools, you've talked to me about boarding schools. And I went, boarding schools here, ultra expensive, very high end.
Yes.
The best of the best oftentimes, but you say, oh no, because you went to boarding school.
I went to boarding school in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like?
Oh, it was the worst.
Really?
Okay, boarding school, it's not the same as boarding school here.
Okay.
It's totally different because...
It's not like in the movies here where they have the glee club and the athletics and all that?
No, that is, in fact... I waited, I think I was one of the students who waited the longest before I could go to boarding school, because when you go when you're a freshman in high school, then there's a lot of bullying, there's a lot of it's very hard to survive in boarding school.
Really?
Because especially if you've come from a place where you're used to like going back home in the evening, and then now you're put in boarding school. Water is an issue, so when you're in school, you're thinking, do I need to study or make sure I wait for the bell and then go look for water wherever it is I'm going to look for water?
What do you mean look for water?
Well,
I mean, do they have running water in the school?
Well, sometimes they'll be running water in the course of the day, but now when you're in boarding school, you have to figure out how you'll shower. So you have to go look for that water. So, like you'll go to a river or something and go get water at a river.
Now, again, we're talking about a boarding school, which here in America, a boarding school is usually super nice. you're telling me you had to go find water.
Yeah, you have to go
take
find water, or if it rained, it was really good because we have the big tanks. So we were always really wanting it to rain, because then the big tanks you don't have to go too far away to get the water. So, and then you have to like figure out, because we had to be in class for morning preps, we call it morning preps, at 4:30 a.m. So you have to figure out where you're going to get your water in the evening when you come out of class.
Back up. You just said 4:30 a.m. she was in class.
Oh, we studied a lot.
Until what time? Until what time?
So your morning prep goes from 4:30 to 6:30, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then you break, and then you go for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then you clean the school, because we didn't have like people to clean. You assigned areas, staff room, toilets, whatever. All of that.
And you're paying to go to school here.
Yeah, you're paying to go to school.
But you got to clean the school too.
Who else will clean the school?
Well, here we have maintenance people and such that clean the school.
No, so in most high schools in Kenya, you'll find that the students are assigned areas to clean.
Okay.
Each class is assigned an area or something like that. So then by 7, we're back in class. And then once you're back in class, you're in class the whole day until 5, and then you get a break between 5 to 6 for dinner and all of that. And then you're back to class. You're back to class from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m.
Okay, now hang on. This is 4:30 in the morning
to 10:30
at night.
Yeah,
that's like a 16-hour day.
You're studying.
Okay,
we did a lot of math.
What about the teachers though? Are they like? Do the teachers work 16 hours a day as well?
Yeah, so we had like a boarding mistress who lived in school. We had a bunch of teachers who actually lived in school. They had like quarters, right? So we had teachers who had to wake up at 4:30, because you have to make sure all the students are out of the dorms to go to class.
You had to be exhausted.
It was yes, and then it was 7 days a week when you're in school. On Saturday you'll go to class. On Saturday is a little bit relaxed. It's not 4:30 to 10:30. It was from 8 to 5. From 8 to 5, and then on Sunday we'd go to church in the morning, because everyone had to go to church.
Sure. Yeah.
You go to church in the morning, and then in the afternoon you have classes.
Wow.
And then in the evening you go back to evening prep.
I am just taken back. So I'm guessing. And how many months out of the year did you go? 9, 10 months?
Yeah. How many? 12? 9 months. 9 months.
Yes.
So
you got a 3-month break.
Yes. And it's in the middle. It's not like 1 full 3-month break. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about one other thing. In schools here in America, they used to have a thing called corporal punishment.
Yes.
They don't really have it anymore. And I was the king of getting corporal punishment. That meant a paddle to the rear end. I got one in high school, if you can believe that, my senior year. I mean, I was class president. No, I wasn't class president. I was student government president. And I went off campus and played basketball with some friends of mine. One of our principals saw me. He decided he would make an example. He actually gave me the paddling over the PA system.
Oh, my God.
So there, he said, ladies and gentlemen, this is what your fearless leader got into today.
Fearless leader.
But that principal, I'm going to say, was a great person. He helped me get into television later on. But anyway, so we did away, though, with corporal punishment for the most part years ago. Now, you told me, though, I never forget, you told me one time, you said, well, we got beatings. I'm like, no, you can't say that. That sounds wrong.
Yes.
But that's what you called corporal punishment in school there, was a beating.
Yeah, because you're getting beaten. The teachers have, every teacher had their own thing that they used to beat you. So some will have like a bamboo stick, the bamboo stick.
Yeah, so they're like whacking you with a bamboo stick.
Yes, they're whacking you with that. And then there used to be, remember in chemistry, you used to have the Bunsen burner?
Yes.
The pipe?
Yes.
There's some teachers who'd use that pipe.
No.
I know, it was so bad. They used the Bunsen burner pipe and like, why are you getting C's and B's in chemistry?
Listen, this is, and the amazing part is, she's smiling while telling this. I mean,
because
this had to be traumatic.
At the time it was. And you remember there's a friend of mine I was telling you who got beaten like for a whole 1.5 hours in the middle of the night. They're just being beaten the whole time because they are found in a phone in school. But it's just, that's how the school system was. And right now, some schools kind of still do it.
It's still allowed then.
The government has specifically said no corporal punishment. The government has said it.
Oh.
But the people who in the actual schools, they're like, it's fine because you're disciplining the child and making sure they get the.
How would your family and families react if you tell them I got beaten today because I got a C- in math?
See, there is.
It's just part of the culture?
It's just part of the culture. And, no one will go and sue. No one will go sue a school or a teacher or something, because at the end of the day, you want your children to pass. And how do you, if you want your children to do well, the teacher has to beat them. If they do...
Well, I mean, I'm guessing some kids do well without being beaten, don't they?
Well, some of them do well, but for some, they need the incentive.
Well, you realize there's people watching this video that are probably freaking out now.
Yeah.
And they're all going, how could she laugh? This is horrible. But it's like, it's just a different world. That's this video, right?
That's how you, I don't know, it's just how it is. It's how it is, and people have grown up with it. They understand how it is.
Well, and I'm sure, too, there are people maybe who are like me who remember when we got paddlings, and they probably think that is barbaric. And I can say, though, I mean, I came through it just fine. I lived through paddlings.
Well, you see, also because this new generation is very gentle parenting. That's what we call it now, gentle parenting. Which is interesting. It's okay if people want to do gentle
within
parenting.
Reason, I guess.
Within reason, but I don't support. There's a lot of this whole school beating situation. I don't support it.
Right.
I completely don't, because
you've lived it.
Yeah, I've lived it, and some of it was very unnecessary, right? I remember, like, one time I got a beating. I was the first in class. It was a biology class. I was the first in class, and we had done it with other schools. It was like combined exam. I was the first one, but because I wasn't the first with a high enough grade, I still got a beating. I'm like, why is that even necessary?
Well, and I'm guessing, too, you coming out and us talking about this here, there are probably some generations of Kenyans, because we know there are people in Kenya that watch these videos, too.
Yeah.
Are there going to be some that are like, oh, Nicole, you're out of your mind. This was the way we need to keep doing it.
People still do. I mean, I have family in Kenya.
Right, of course.
I mean, people still, there's the things that I'm told every single day.
Right.
People still do it, but they probably don't do it as much as they used to back then. But there are some schools that they'll still, do a little bit of beating.
Wow. Well, I tell you, we're almost at 20 minutes now. This has been a fascinating conversation. We've got some other things that we're going to talk about, maybe in another video, about on the education front. I guess the bottom line might be, though, you're obviously, I mean, I'm thrilled you're here in America with me and that we're living life together. And as you look at schools here, maybe it's just a final commentary. You and I have toured some schools here. We've been on some campuses. What is your overall impression, though, of even just a regular public school here in America? How would you say it is in comparison to going to a school in Kenya? Do you still see good things here? And is this...
Yeah, I think it's totally different. It's totally different. Here, people don't wear school uniforms. Parents, the school provides so much, like textbooks and stuff like that. And then here, kids are not afraid to go to school. I remember I used to be so scared to go to school, but I had to go to school. But there's no fear of going to school.
There's probably some kids bullying and things, but you're saying overall.
In fact, even fearing the teachers.
Oh.
Yeah, because then you're afraid, you're just so scared all of the time.
Yeah.
So and here there's so much freedom, I think, in schools, because you don't have these, which might be back and forth. I don't know how to say it.
There can be too much freedom, you think?
There could be also too much freedom, because there's so much structure in the Kenyan school system.
Right.
Like, it's very, you come to school at this time, this is how your hair is supposed to be, this is how your shoes are supposed to be, these are the socks you're supposed to wear, the school uniform, this is how it's supposed to be.
Kind of like the military.
Oh yeah, it's the military.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
Kind of like the military. So I get it. And the other thing I thought was fascinating as well, like, I know here in our neighborhood there's a school bus that comes around.
Oh, yeah.
And I told you yesterday, the bus is free, it's part of school. And you were like, free? You just thought that was so
because you see, in public schools, most public schools in Kenya don't have the school bus. Now, the private schools have
But in the private schools, you pay for the school bus. You pay for the school bus,
you pay for transportation, or you figure out your own transport. Yeah.
Basically, to get even just a moderate education in Kenya, you're going to spend a lot of money.
Yes,
in a country that doesn't have a ton of money.
Which when we talk about it, you say it's weird, but I never really thought about it until now. We started exchanging notes.
You're right.
Because private schools here, there are some that are there's some schools in Kenya that are more expensive than here.
Oh yeah, we've done that.
Yeah.
We've looked at some of the cost of schools, and I was just shocked that some really nice private schools here were less than private schools in Kenya that weren't near as nice as the school here, which just blew my mind.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing that blows my mind even more, I think, is because those private schools, they exist, and there are kids who go to those schools, which means there's people who are able to afford it in Kenya, right? Mm-hmm. Which means the problem or biggest thing is like we have a very big divide between the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
The people who have really do have it.
Right.
So, and they're able to take their kids to all these fancy schools. Mm-hmm. But then the people who don't have it just really don't have it.
Right.
And that divide is so huge. And I think that's one of the things why I appreciate like what the government does in America, trying to make everyone, like, public amenities are so good. Oh my gosh, the infrastructure here is so good. The education system is so good.
Which is people here that will complain about it. They'll probably comment in our videos going, "Oh, the schools here are horrible."
Well, you see, you never really appreciate. I guess it's human nature. You never really appreciate what you have until maybe you see what someone else has gone through. Because for me, here everything is just so wonderful.
Right.
I'm like, yes, everything is. I can't even begin to explain. Everything is just so different, so vastly different. And so for the people who, even if there is people who don't have right here, they still have access to so many of the things, like the free parks, the roads, the infrastructure, everything is so good.
This is a whole other show we've gotten into.
I know, but it's just also so much vastly different and so much better. I can't even begin to
Well, we are. I tell you what we're going to do, because we know people have the attention span of squirrels, is what I always say. Maybe two of you have continued to watch, but it has been fascinating, Nicole. And what I'd like for us to do is pick this up, do another video, and maybe let's talk about those public amenities and things like that.
Yes.
That would be an interesting topic, because here people are always complaining about something.
Yeah.
But
my thing with the public amenities is that they're accessible to everyone.
Yeah. Well, we're going to save that and talk more about it, okay, in our next show. Okay. So, thanks for watching. Keep subscribing, right?
Yes, and sharing our videos and
it's all good.
Yes.
It's all good. Have a good one. Better tomorrow. Bye now.
Bye.